So how to deal with variables that have causality? So I assume that are causally associated, but they don't appear to have a correlation at first sight. This situation is possible. So it is a rare situation, but a possible situation that may appear, especially in high complexity data sets. And causal discovery, actually, using AI that I was mentioning before, is one of the approaches that can be used in such situation, because we can use high complexity AI models which can leverage information in a way that simple statistical model or simple correlation analysis would not be able to do, and try to identify these hidden patterns in the data. So there are AI models that can be designed to identify hidden patterns in the data. One such example would be trying to identify hidden causal pattern in the data. And another approach, which we repeat, and we repeat it for a reason, which is the domain knowledge. So if we know from the domain, that's why it's important, not just for many other fields that we often talk about, but also for causal inference and causal discovery as branches of causal science. It's very important to know what we are studying. If we analyze something, it's very important to know what's behind that analysis, what is producing that data. So if we are performing causal analysis in molecular biology field, we need to understand the molecular biology. We need to understand what's happening with those molecules. One example would be what's happening with the DNA, RNA, proteins. How are they related to each other, and so on. In other fields as well, if we are performing a marketing strategy causal inference, we just need to know a lot about marketing. We need to know how are these variables, how is the data that is produced for those models, how it's produced, what's producing the data, what nuances can we include in terms of including the domain knowledge. So one such example would be, if we know that two variables, or even if we don't know, we rarely know something for sure in this field, but let's say that there is a lot of logic in a specific situation where two variables should be causally associated. We can see that from the logic, but we just don't see that in the data, because data doesn't have to be perfect. Data doesn't have to reflect all the time what's happening in the real world. Ideally, we want the data to be as reflective as possible of reality, but that's why it's important to utilize approaches such as, just including whatever knowledge you have about specific phenomena, and then if it doesn't, if it's not a match with the data we see, then that's definitely something to explore further, to analyze further. Yeah. Justin, are there any questions, or would you like to add anything?
No, that's perfect. Yeah, like Darko said, the data is not always perfect. There can be things we didn't observe that kind of make the correlation close to zero, even if there's a causal effect. But if you think there's a causal effect, you should not change that based on the zero correlation, and you should keep the causal effect in your model in general.